Hello and welcome back to Tachikawa. You are listening to Sakamichi Nights. My name is Matthew Boynton and I'm joined as always by Daniel Bellamy. How are you today, Daniel?
Pretty good. Had a week off the podcast. I'm feeling rested and ready.
Right. Last Thursday was Culture Day.
Yep.
So Wednesday was a late finish. Apologies to all of our thousands of fans all over the world.
Waiting for their dose of culture.
For that one. And also many apologies to all of our fans that we are joined this week by a returning guest. Guestingest guest, ripping the crown from the head of Kampai Planet's Mac. It's the welcome return of Tyler. How are you doing today, Tyler?
I'm good, thank you.
You've been having a good day today.
Great day.
Day of many results.
Yes.
Today.
Mm-hmm.
Which result in particular caught your attention today?
Well, I've actually been following the Pakistani cricket team recently.
It's the 2020 World Cup at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Not many people know that I'm actually a massive cricket fan.
Yeah.
Of the Pakistani team specifically?
Specifically.
Interesting.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so today I'm just kind of relishing in their victory over the New Zealand team.
Bit of a blowout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2020 matches can be kind of close. Sometimes they come down to the wire every now and again. But this one, did New Zealand even show up for this match?
No contest.
No contest at all.
I watched live from beginning to end, and it was, I actually felt bad.
Right.
For everyone in New Zealand.
Right.
Embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
for the whole country.
It's a tough watch.
Yeah.
Who do you think stood out among a field of chokers? Who choked the hardest for New Zealand?
I would say, without question, Daryl Mitchell and Kane Williamson were two.
Right.
Absolute lopsided performances.
Known chokers, though.
The star player and the captain both failed to show up for this match.
Yeah.
Do you think this bodes poorly for the Rugby World Cup next year?
I think this is certainly sort of an omen, right?
Right.
This is
a stain, if you will.
Clearly, this is a sign of things to come. It's looking bleak for the All Blacks coming up here in the future. So
yeah, well, dark days for New Zealand, but happy days for the Pakistan fans.
Absolutely,
amongst whom you count yourself.
I wish the listeners could actually see what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, the Pakistan shirt that you're wearing.
Full outfit, full cricket kit,
fully decked out.
Would you say that the bowling of Afridi made a big difference today?
I would say absolutely. His field work was uncanny.
Yes, that and his bowling were both extremely good.
Man, so close.
Yeah.
Anyway, those New Zealanders, man, they fold like a house of cards.
Serial chokers. They're very much the South Africa of this World Cup, wouldn't you say, Tyler?
I think I could probably organize, a practice squad and take on the New Zealand team.
Indeed, the only thing more pathetic than losing to Pakistan in the semi-finals would be getting knocked out of your own World Cup at home. So congratulations, Australia, as well, for failing to even meet to make the semi-finals. It's been a dark week for Antipodean sport all round. I know that everyone is listening to this as huge cricket fans. We had such wonderful feedback from our cricket segment the other week. But that's not actually what this podcast is about, is it, Daniel Bellamy?
No, that's not what it's about.
What is this podcast about?
We're on here to celebrate beer.
Right. And we maybe get some flack online for our bold, this is not a review show stance. So we've decided to invite on an expert reviewer this week. That's you, Tyler. I see you nodding, right? Because you are currently the owner and operator, is that right, of a website called isitgood.com? That site is live, isn't it?
It's all in the wording, but yeah, more or less.
Right. And can you tell us what this website does?
Absolutely. This website is a time saver. It's a look into the soul of products, things, events. Whatever you are curious about, and you look at something, or you ask yourself, is it good? And this website provides the answer.
Right. It's going to be either a yes or a no. There are no maybes on this site, right? Yeah. It's either yes, it is good, or no, it is not good.
We don't pander to the maybe crowd.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I wonder if we could put this site to the test a little bit. Dan and I are gonna just fire some things at you And as the owner-operator of this site, I want you to tell us whether these things are good or not.
Absolutely.
So just a yes or a no, please. Dan, you want to start?
Cheese. I'm starting easy. Cheese.
Yes.
Beer.
Yes.
Toe cheese.
Toe cheese.
Toe cheese.
Is that a French word?
Man, you've already screwed this up. This website sucks.
What is toe cheese?
I just thought it was yes or no. Don't we just search things?
I don't. I have to know what it is.
I think it's the gunk that builds up on or between your toes.
I broke the site already.
Oh, is that what toe cheese is?
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Peanuts.
Yes.
Apologies to any peanut allergy sufferers out there.
Sorry, you're wrong. The Art of Marcel Duchamp.
That's a hard yes.
It's good.
Potassium benzoate.
No.
Oh, okay, good.
The Chess Career of Marcel Duchamp.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Ascorbic acid.
No.
So, apologies to anyone who might be suffering from scurvy. Vitamin C is apparently not good. Dan, you want to close this one out?
Being carried away by strangers in a hot air balloon.
Yes, absolutely.
Elon Musk.
Oh, that's a trick question.
Is it good or not?
So yeah, this one is going to require a little bit of research.
I feel like the website is falling to pieces in front of us.
It,
We already displayed its inadequacies with toe cheese.
In a very Elon Musk style way, this whole enterprise is falling apart.
well, see, the thing is, the website is created for more simple or like simplistic ideas, products, things like that. We were going in the right direction with cheese.
Okay, so my final question then, the New Zealand cricket team.
No.
Good. Thank you very much for all of your insights there. As you mentioned there, beer, yes, it is good. And I'm glad you said that because one of the things we do in this show is to celebrate beer in all of its goodness and all of its wonderfulness. Every week we pick one or a few things from the taps or from the fridge. We drink them and then we talk about them a little bit. What is the beer that we are planning to drink this week, Daniel Bellamy?
This week we're going to drink Shuzenji Hop Garden Ale from Baird Beer.
From Baird Brewing in Shuzenji. What can you tell me about this beer before we get into it?
It's a fresh hop ale, which means they use, I think they have their own hop garden there, right? They grow their own hops. And so they harvest them, I assume. My understanding of fresh hop beer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of fresh hop beer is they're hops that have been picked and they have been dried and processed, but they are the fresh ones from that harvest.
Right.
Different to a wet hop beer, which is pulling hops, as I understand it, again, straight off the vine and chucking them in directly. So this is a fresh hop beer, which means the hops have been dried, but they are ready to go into the beer. It's from this year's harvest of hops.
And I think one of the really interesting things about this beer is that, as you say, they have their own little hop garden there, hop field, with all the different vines and so on. But it's very small, and the harvest is different every year. They're not getting the same volume. They're not getting even maybe the same varieties of hops. So this is a beer that's going to be different every year, from harvest to harvest, and from variety to variety, and even from style to style. I was looking back, and some of the previous iterations of this beer have been a golden ale, or an IPA, or a pale ale. But this year, it's a session IPA. So 5.3%, and maybe a medium amount of bitterness. Tyler, is it good?
We don't know yet.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Right, welcome back. We're here with our very in-depth reviews of this beer. Tyler, is it good?
Yes.
Good, moving on. Dan, what do you think of the Shuzenji Hop Garden Ale 2022?
I feel like it is vegetal and herbaceous.
Okay.
These are good. These are
the-
good, Tyler. Sorry, I don't know if you...
You lost me already.
You're reading from the same list of words that you prepared
You're
for Tyler
you're
on
the
his
man
last...
of elevated vocabulary. I should be speaking your language here.
Would you say it's also calipicious?
Calipigis.
Calipicious.
Yeah, why not? Let's say that.
I think we can all agree on that one, though.
Yeah. It's quite earthy, I think, right? It tastes, I don't know, like, to get into a weird descriptor, it seems very grounded to me. I get, like I said, vegetal and herbaceous and kind of spicy and earthy notes to it, which I think is really nice because you see, it seems like IPAs go either full on like fruity, citrusy, or kind of bitter, grassy-ish, and this one goes a little bit different. We had a German IPA from Open Air recently, Hopfenwissen, I think it was. Hopfenweizen.
Thanks, Rudolph.
That struck a similar tone to me as well, and I think that this one does too. So yeah, I am not sure if it's from the fresh hops or what it is, but yeah, I like it. Spicy, kind of vegetal, herbal notes to it. I like it a lot. It's good. Sorry, is that? That's what you're looking for?
Okay. Now
it's good.
I got it.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
You lost me with all those words, but we're back.
Unlike the New Zealand cricket team, it's good.
Right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think earthy, herbal, herbaceous, these are all good descriptors of this beer. It's got a slightly spicy nose to it as well. It's really interesting. And talking to the team at Baird, one of the things they wanted to emphasize is that you can really taste the local area. You can taste the terroir of the local hop gardens there. Because, you know, as you know, Tyler, the local microflora, the bacteria and so on that are in the soil do have an effect on the taste of the hops.
Absolutely.
So the same variety of hops that are grown in Shuzenji or in the Pacific Northwest will taste different. And you will be able to taste the difference between those two. So when you drink this beer, you are really tasting Shuzenji, which is really interesting, I think. Every time we drink a beer on the show, we also like to pair it with something. Although, of course, we can't pair it with the two most recent pairings, which were, of course, Dan.
2 weeks ago, we drank bread, and we paired it with, or 3 weeks ago, I guess, we drank bread and paired it with a video game. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we drank Primo Diablo, and we paired it with an activity. So we can't have video game, we can't have activity.
Right. It's been a hectic schedule the last few weeks. Anyway, let's spin that wheel and find out what we'll be pairing this with.
No luck. Just like that New Zealand team, huh?
Location. Okay, this is an interesting one because there is one extremely obvious answer. But if you were to drink this beer somewhere, anywhere in the world, anywhere in the universe, Tyler, where would you like to relax and drink a glass of this beer?
I mean, this is a softball, right? I mean, the obvious answer is
Sure, much like the balls that were being lobbed at the Pakistani cricket team today.
Exactly.
Soft and easy to smash over the boundary.
Exactly. So I'm, just like the Pakistani team, I'm going to smash this one for 100 points. I think the obvious answer is Sakamichi Brewery in Tachikawa, Tokyo, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Obviously.
Why
Isn't
there?
that the answer?
Why there?
Well, in the metaverse or this alternate universe, right?
Yeah.
There are a million places you could go, right?
Sure.
Right?
Okay. Let's continue with this. I want to see where this is going.
But it's one of these things where less is more, right?
Right.
Simple, local bar, good people, good lighting.
Yeah.
This is where you want to be.
Okay. So your answer to where you would like to drink this beer is where you are currently drinking this beer.
That's right.
What an imagination. Incredible.
Really took us on a journey with that description as well. It's a bar. It has lighting. There are people. Great. Dan, how about you? Where would you like to drink this beer?
Are we're disregarding the obvious?
No, if you want to go there.
I do, but I don't. I'll do something else. I'll leave it for you if you'd like. I went to I don't remember where it was, but I went to a place that was like a they were growing a bunch of medicinal plants. It was a rather large garden. And they were, don't give me that look. They were growing a bunch of different, it was somewhere in South America, and it was like some indigenous people had this, I wouldn't say farm, but a pretty large plot of land where they were growing a bunch of medicinal plants for like all kinds of stuff, like, like antibacterial stuff for healing wounds and like things to settle your stomach and that kind of stuff. But the thing I remember about this place, because you go there and they'll take you on like a short tour. It takes 5-10 minutes, something like that, of the garden, and they'll go around and they'll point out each one and tell you what it does. And then obviously they have a little shop there where they sell different kind of like teas and tinctures and whatever else that's all made from stuff in the garden. The thing I remember about it and walking through the garden was the different smells that came up from all the different plants and herbs and things that were growing there, and the flowers and stuff. It was really intense and wild, and as you pass through it, you kind of pass through all of these different scents and flavors. And I feel like you get the same thing from this beer. So I would like to go on that tour again and walk through that garden again while drinking this beer, because both locations are kind of grounded and earthy and herbaceous, vegetal locations.
Did you get to sample any of the medicinal plants while you were there?
Well, not while I was there, but as people who know me know, I have some digestive challenges in my life.
Yep.
So I bought some tea that was meant to help with that.
And did it help?
No, God, no. But
did it make things worse?
It didn't make things. I mean, no, it didn't make things worse. But no, not in any kind of measurable way. I think I believe that many of my problems are they're not of a physical origin.
Okay. So metaphysical digestive issues over here.
That's basically what I was talking about before.
Tyler, let me just pull this one up on the website. Metaphysical digestive issues. Isitgood.com.
My initial reaction or gut would be no.
Your gut says no.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's funny because Dan's gut says yes. All the time, yes. That's a good answer. And thank you for leaving the obvious one for me, because it is what I'm going to choose. I'm going to say that I would like to drink this at the Baird Brewery in Shuzenji. As everyone who's listening to this probably knows, I spent an extremely happy year and a half working at the brewery there. It's a fantastic location. It was a fantastic team when I was there as well. I really enjoyed working with everybody. And it was, not to get too emotional, but it was a really big change in my life from working in a kind of an office job, which was good. And I like my coworkers and I like my job, but it was such a huge change to go and work in a factory, essentially, with a completely different set of people, in a different language as well. But to receive such a warm welcome and to feel so at home there so quickly was really special for me. So I took part in the hop harvest one year, and we used those hops to make a different previous version of this beer. And I would love to go back to Baird at any point to drink some more fantastic beer there and to enjoy the lovely scenery as well. So
that series of events was a positive catalyst for change, right? Change which kind of propelled you forward.
Yes.
Kind of the opposite of what's happening in New Zealand right now, right? With the sports programs there just crumbling before our eyes.
Choking.
Real downward
embarrassingly
spiral.
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some interesting pairings this week. Before we move on, I'd just like to say that I feel the need for mead. This is going to be a rare double pairing or double tasting.
Oh, snap.
On this episode, because yesterday I was down in Hiratsuka to do some brewing. Real ones will know what I was brewing down there with that big bucket of oranges. And anybody who has ever been to Yggdrasil Brewing at Hiratsuka knows that they also make extremely delicious mead. And I was lucky enough to bring a bottle back with me to Tokyo. So why don't we taste some mead as well as some beer this week? Should we get into it? All right, welcome back. Tyler, what is mead?
It's good.
Okay, good. We got that out of the way. It's honey and water mixed together, and then you put a bit of yeast in it. And it ferments all the sugar and turns it into alcohol. This one, I think, according to the Idrisil website at least, was a blend of 3 different kinds of honey. There's some orange honey, some acacia honey, and some linden honey, which might mean lindenberries or something like that. And then they infused it with French raspberries. So it's a delightful pink color as well. How would you describe the flavor of this one, Dan?
You definitely get the raspberry coming through. I've had quite a few of the meads from Idrisil, and they've all been really nice. It's an interesting drink, right? Because the kind of honey, you always taste the honey in it, and I don't know if that's that might sound like a dumb thing to say, but there's a lot of different kinds of honey that have a different flavor to them. And when you make a mead, as I understand it, you would choose a specific kind of honey to go with it. So you always notice the character of the honey in it. I don't have enough of a discerning palate to know what that, to tell the difference. But I assume that you make that pairing. So you can definitely taste the honey that they used in this. And the raspberry shines through over the top. I don't know, it's a nice blend, right? Those 2 flavors, if you were to just have a bowl of nice fresh raspberries and a bit of honey with them, that would be pretty tasty, I think.
That's a good pairing.
Yeah.
That is. I actually have is mead an acronym?
No.
It's just a word.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's actually, and someone might jump in and correct me on this, but I read once that it's also the origin of the term honeymoon as well, because back in the day, I guess maybe for wealthier people in society, your marriages were arranged marriage, and they were designed to create an heir for the line. And so you would get married, and essentially you would drink honey mead every night for a month, the moon, right? The cycle of the moon, to get you in the mood. Mead for the mood, for the moon.
I don't even care if you're making this up. This should be the backstory.
Yeah, so it was the honeymoon because it was the moon cycle, the month in which you drank honey mead every night, so you could get to the baby making.
Wow.
With someone you just met.
Is that
and
true?
Who's probably 20 years older than you.
Can you verify this?
You're asking me for the information on my new website, isittrue.com.
Yes.
The
This is
answer
the
is
sister website.
I don't know. It sounds plausible. I used to co-present a little TV show called Mythbusters with Jamie Heineman. And we looked into stuff like this. I will have to add this one to the list of myths that we need to look into. This is going to be a rare drink that we have on this podcast that people can't actually come in here and enjoy. We don't serve this, and we don't have any in bottles either.
Basically just taunting.
But if it sounds interesting to you, and it is very delicious, then if you're in the Hiratsuka area, please do check out Idrisil Brewing. We are doing some brewing down there as well at the moment, so you might run into me fooling around in the back. And you will certainly get to drink some very delicious mead if you are there. Every time I do brewing at Idrisil, I have a couple of beers before I leave, and I usually finish that session with a nice glass of whatever mead they have.
Do you scream at him, I feel the need!
The need for mead.
Every time.
Yes.
Good.
It still hasn't got old. Let's go back to the beer that we were drinking earlier, this Shuzenji Hop Garden Ale. As you were saying, Dan, some people say that there is a difference between the terms fresh hop and wet hop ales. Other people say that those basically mean the same thing. And I think this beer might split the difference a little bit between them, at least based on my experience of being involved in the brewing process there. So a wet hop ale, you might say, is when you just pull the hops straight off the vine and use them in the beer immediately, right? You don't dry them out or process them in any way. And that preserves some of the more interesting earthy and vegetal characters of it. Whereas a fresh hop ale might be just using the very fresh hops that you have in your local area that have not been really processed anywhere beyond picking them and maybe leaving them for some time. And when I was there when we made the beer, we kind of did a bit of both. We did the hop harvest very early in the morning on whatever day it was, and then divided the hops into 3 piles, and we used a third of the hops that we had harvested that very day to make the beer. It might have even just been 2 piles. So we put half of them into the beer that day, and then the other half were kind of dried out in the boiler room and then used for dry hopping a week or two later on after that. So it was a bit of both. It was a bit of the wet hop and the fresh hop ale. But either way, it's very interesting that you can really taste the character of Shuzenji and of the hop garden that is there. And that leads us into a question that we got from a regular listener. It's Krishna. Thank you very much for your question, Krishna. And it goes, with all the different beers from different countries you've carried, can you say that certain countries have particular craft beer quirks? What tendencies have you noticed or interesting things you've picked up? So she's asking about the local terroir or local quirks of just beer in general.
Are you paraphrasing English to English for me?
Yes.
Because I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me just break this one down for you, Tyler.
It's good.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a great.
Is this a good question?
That's a great question.
Yes, it is a good question. So this one's for the table. Have any of you noticed any particular interesting quirks about beer from particular countries?
I think this supersedes my, capacity to explain or talk in depth about beer. So I'm going to just immediately pass the microphone metaphysically to Daniel.
Metaphysically.
There was a lot of vocabulary in that sentence.
Big words.
You've been spending so much time reading Pakistan cricket blogs that you haven't had time to do any research for this.
That will change soon.
Dan, have you noticed any particular things about beer from different countries that we're having?
I think that every country is probably a bit beholden to their traditional styles. So I think that good, interesting and modern and boundary-pushing craft beer is being made everywhere. But I think due to the history in each place, that brewers in those places also have a connection to traditional styles that were popular there. And so they are, they're continuing to excel in making new and innovative craft versions of traditional styles from their local area. So in that regard, you're going to see, some what you would describe as predominantly British styles, best bitters and things like that. A lot of the good British breweries, while they might be banging out excellent hazy IPAs and West Coast IPAs, they're also going to make some really amazing craft bitters as well. So I think you see that everywhere. But also an interesting thing that you see now, even beyond just traditional styles, is people reaching back even further into the past to go to really kind of local, kind of folk styles, and trying to recreate traditional brewing methods, either accurately recreating them, full on whatever that might entail, brewing in, clay earthen pots or whatever, or trying to recreate those flavors in a modern system. You see a lot of that, and that reaches back into a local place, their beer making heritage and the kind of things that were made, 100, 200 years ago. That kind of stuff I think is really neat, because that's a connection back through history that is tied very clearly to the local area. But I think what we've seen with the importers bringing beer in from all over the place now, for a long time predominantly it was American beer coming in, but now we get beer from all over Europe. I know from traveling in Central and South America that there's really great beer being made there. I think there's good, really excellent craft beer in all different styles being made all over the world right now. So culturally, I think reaching back into history and making traditional styles, either things that are still in existence now and making craft versions, or even going back into the anthropological record and trying to make interesting things that might have fallen out of production. I think that's probably the local quirk that you see.
This is the future liberals want, right?
Sounds great to me.
Working people across the world joining hands to share ideas and to make excellent things together. I think that's very true. And I think, obviously, America is the big driver of craft beer culture across the world now. So definitely the Japanese market has been shaped by the kind of beer that came out of America. Hazy IPAs are the most popular thing that we sell in here. And so that's what a lot of people make. And so maybe our viewpoint is slightly colored by the fact that we operate here in Japan. But I remember going back to the UK which would have been 2019, so the last time I was back there. And a lot of craft beer bars will have a row of American-style kegs on tap, but they will also have a row of cask ales on tap. And so it might be difficult to really get a sense of the interesting and unique things that certain countries do if you don't visit those countries, right? Because that kind of cask ale just doesn't travel. And also, it's difficult to find other countries that have the setup to serve it, right? Anywhere outside of the UK. So maybe this is the future that liberals want. We should all be joining hands to make things together, and we should all be traveling around the world to sample each other's beers.
More cask ale, I think, is what you're calling for.
Yes.
I'm down.
That's one of the things that I'm calling for.
Hand pumps.
Certainly. Yes. More beer engines.
Is this a revolution? Is this the start of it here?
Let's call it an evolution, Tyler. Great question, Krishna. Thank you very much for getting in touch. All right, Dan, what do we have coming up in the fridge or on the taps that you feel people ought to know about?
On Friday, coming in on delivery, we have Sierra Nevada Celebration Fresh Hop Ale. That's a great beer. I love that. That comes in this time every year.
That was going to be your beer that you would drink year-round, wasn't it?
No, that was Jubilale by Deschutes, which is also coming in, but not this Friday.
Right.
That'll come in December sometime. Jubilale, also great. Anyway, Celebration is coming in. Celebration's a great beer. We have a keg of it, but I'm not sure when that will go on. But the cans are coming out on Friday. We'll probably put them in the fridge straight away, I think. That's going to be pretty good.
Tyler, you look like you have something to say.
No, I'm just thinking.
You're just thinking.
Semi-out loud.
Okay.
One other thing coming up on Friday is that we'll have a tap takeover event featuring Echoes Brewery, one of our favorite breweries from America or from the Pacific Northwest. And indeed, the head brewer himself from Echoes will be joining us in the evening to sling a few beers and to chat with anyone who wants to come along to that event. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
Tyler, why don't we wrap up this pod with a quick review? Your appearance, was it good?
You know what? I have to say.
I'm looking for a yes or no here, Tyler.
I have to say, I'm inspired by both of your reviews. They were so in depth. There's always a link.
Dan,
it's always a connection.
Was Tyler's appearance good?
It's waning down.
Let me connect this. Let me put this all together with a story, and I think this will make sense.
Good. Yeah.
When I was a high school student, I used to date this cheerleader.
This isn't a recipe blog.
You're right, it's not. When I was a high school student, I used to date this cheerleader, and obviously she was popular, very, very attractive, and one of the larger, kind of hefty, beefy linebackers from the football team took a liking to her, and then one day he challenged me to a fight.
And?
I don't know. I guess he just moved to Texas or something like that. So much like that situation, I think, yeah, tonight was good.
Okay. So unresolved tension in the air. Thank you very much for coming in today, Tyler, and for sharing that very personal and moving story with us. Mac, if you're listening, this is the person who has replaced you as the guest.
These are the kind of stories that we get.
Dan, thanks for being here. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will see you again next time.
Sorry to leave you on that story, but hopefully you listen next week. Thanks again, everybody. Bye. What the hell was that?